Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today is October 30th, 2023. So, what I've been reading was the Holy Tablets. I'm not sure if you've read that. I would think people that find my content of any interest are far more evolved than the average moron, but it's amazing to me because when I read things, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I was talking about, the number 9. And I just, figured out what 9 meant in terms of the number completion. It's the perfect number. Everything adds up to 9 ultimately, et cetera, through my own, experience in doing things. And then when I read something and I'm like, oh my gosh, they talk about this number 9 and it's a big deal. It's kind of satisfying. You know what I mean? It really is. And so we're living in this time of revelation. I still find it almost hilarious. But at the same time, if I say that, you're going to think that I like to see people decimated. I don't. But see, this is what happens in judgment. This is what happens when people don't follow Elohim, the God of this world. When they go another direction, and then he says, I'm going to pour out my judgment on you, and it's not going to be good. And then when it starts to happen, they're like, oh, nobody's reporting on it. Nobody's talking about it. I can't believe this. Yeah, you don't get any of that. I'm just like, what part of this don't you understand? But anyway, I feel like I just had a huge breakthrough, and I wanted to share it with you. I mentioned this before. This is another one of these things. Like I said, you're dealing with people mostly in this experience that operate from the 5 senses, right? They see, they hear, they taste, they feel, and they touch. That's it. So when I'm reading this, and it actually started, I'll put a link to his channel or his video, because I can't believe YouTube served this up to me, because it never gives me anything that's worth a shit. Except for the people that read tarot and do spiritual work, which all my life I was told this was evil, right? And actually it's a complete opposite thing. Everything here is upside down. These are the people that actually still have gifts. They have gifts of telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance, and intuition. All gifts I have. And this enables us to see things that are coming, to figure out what's going on. But this blew me away. So if you have experienced something like this, I hope this helps you. The picture I have on the screen right now is just something from Vanilla Sky when he's getting ready to go up to the top and scream, screaming for tech support to come and help, which I'm not kidding you guys. It's not really that far off from reality at all. When you really understand how we're created, we all have to get beyond this place where we learn from the moment we were brought up, from the people before us and before them, etc., how we're all programmed with these stories, these fantasies, they literally are Disneyland, Walt Disney stories. That, all these animals went on an ark, And when I started breaking down different things, and I saw that, I didn't even know what I know now. And I was like, oh, no. Woman was, you actually visualize it like a rib being pulled out of a woman. He puts him to sleep, pulls out a rib, and makes a woman. Whoa, man. And, anyway, these are all the things that are coming to the surface now. But here's the problem, okay? I truly believe the 2/3 will never see it because they're not meant to. And this is what makes our experience so difficult. And then we're so, we're spread out so thin across the world. So we have, for some reason, we still have intuition, clairvoyance, psychometry, and telepathy. maybe not telepathy to the point that we did at one time, or psychometry, but we have clairvoyance, we have intuition. Many of us have different, them in differing, aptitudes, if you will. And we have this etheric connection to the Most High, whatever created us, and we have a spirit. We have a spiritual connection. Like we're cognizant of it, and it's as much as, I don't know, for me it's just real. But with all the things I've learned in the last 4 years, I realize it's just given words now to explain what I've experienced most of my life. And I'm in my late 50s. So I've been through some stuff, and I've never been, or isolated from life or insulated from life. I've always been out there working and mixing it up with all of them and everything. And always feeling like outside looking in. Because I am. And maybe you are too. And that's why I wanted to put this video up. And so I'm reading this Holy Tablets because of what I just saw this video. And I put the video at the end of this video, this brother did. And the reason it's stunning to me is because it's almost impossible for me to tell you why without telling you a little bit about my experience. And I don't want to, because I don't ever want to come at you with feel sorry for me. But I kind of had a Cinderella experience with a wicked stepmother. This woman never gave one shit about me, but yet she ruled our worlds once she entered it and destroyed my family and everything else. And my dad was powerless against her, which I always found amazing. There was this one night when he got really drunk and he was fighting with her, and he said, "I'm out, I'm done with her." And we were us 3 kids that had gone to live with him, we're like, "Yay! Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus." And then when he sobered up, he stayed with her. Never changed. Never. And so what's interesting, and I'll try to just say it real simply, is this woman never gave one shit about me from the time I was 9 to 16, unless there were certain things going on in my life that she could literally get into and destroy. And now I believe it was orchestrated from the beginning, from the time I was born. Do you have that kind of experience? And I would venture to say even my siblings would concur. The ones that were there, if they can remember. They were younger, of course. But this woman wanted to destroy me from the moment she laid eyes on me. And sometimes I think that the only reason that she finagled herself into this situation was to destroy me. That's how powerful I am. And not in a boisterous way, but or anything like that, just because of my spiritual power and really what God had planned for me to accomplish in this life. So I'm listening to this guy, and she never gave one shit about me ever. Not how I did, I dressed myself from the time I could walk. I was always taking care of myself, right? No matter who I was with, whatever adult. And, monitoring myself, feeding myself, taking care of myself. There was never anybody there to do it. And, but all of a sudden, when I was in 5th grade, she's like, "Whoa, she needs to have her tonsils out." And they always had money. They drove really nice cars and all kinds of stuff. And my dad had his own business. And it was all of a sudden, they had interest in me. And I was almost being coddled in a way, "We care about you. We love you." And it was weird. It was hard because I was just a little kid. I'm 9. I'm like, yeah, "Oh, you must know best. Yeah, I need to have my tonsils out, and you love me, and that's why we're doing this." And I'd had some sore throats up until that point, but I was never a sickly kid, right? So I'm watching this guy's video, and so anyway, they got my tonsils out of me, right? And all my life I've been wondering about that event. Why they took my tonsils out of my body. Aren't they important? Don't you need them? I would think so. How did she know that tonsils are connected to the cerebellum in the brain, which is a part of, you have to get into this and study it. But when I watched his video and then I went and did some study into the holy tablets, I'm like, holy fuck. This is why she wanted to remove my tonsils, and did. Without her, my tonsils never would have been removed from my body. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We are living in a reality that many people can't even process. They don't have the eyes to see. They operate in the 5 senses. So when they removed, you have to understand, when they removed the Barathony gland, what it did is it created kind of a subservient class of being here in the earth that we have now. And when you go to greater depths to read and understand these things on a spiritual level, it helps you understand why the herd does all this and why you don't feel like you fit in and why you can't relate at all. Like, I'm so bored here, I just want to scream. Most people, they're all so stupid, and it's honestly not their fault. They can't help it. They have had their Barathony gland removed, and with that comes, they removed telepathy, psychometry, clairvoyance, and intuition, which we all had at one point in time. But if you can get people that come into this existence that are the chosen, the elect, and you can do things like remove their tonsils, you can try to facilitate that. But there's something that happens. God protects us. He doesn't let those total nerve endings be removed completely, because he knows. He knows who his people are. It didn't change me. I've been able to see, be a seer since I could walk. I used to tell my mother what she should do and how she should, move through life and this and that when I was like 4 years old. So anyway, I'm going to put his video link here. So I recommend, if you're interested and you've had your tonsils out, that you watch this, and you'll find it fascinating. And then also, the other thing is that I love that there's people out there that are bringing these cultists down, but you have to understand that the people, I saw this, like, when you really watch these people, like if you watch somebody that has given millions and thousands, thousands, sometimes millions, thousands of dollars to somebody online, they've never talked to them in person, they've never met them. This is somebody that is representative of the world we live in. You can scam them out of everything. They're slaves. They were built to be slaves. So think about it. If you have somebody that has no clairvoyance, no intuition, no connection to a higher power whatsoever, they're just a slave mentality. That's why we saw this. That's why it was so overwhelming for people like myself. And when they introduced the C19 thing, and they all fell in line. Incidentally, last video I made, they blocked it on YouTube completely and totally. So I don't know if you guys know I have a BitChute channel that I've been posting on forever. You can go over there and watch my videos there. But they all fell in line because they're these people. They've had that gland removed, and they only operate from the 5 senses, which I talked about like 2 years ago. It just came through my spirit. I knew that they had no intuition. I knew that they had no introspection. I knew that they didn't have these higher faculties of thought. It's not their fault. But what is our fault is when you have, this is why I really admire the people that are on the scene that are calling out these cult leaders, because they literally are sheep. They are dumb sheep. And they are so easily bamboozled by these psychopaths, these sociopaths. What's really scary is when those sociopaths and psychopaths fool us, because we haven't learned to hone in to our own intuition, our own gifts that somehow we still have. I mean, I've even had people try to remove them by removing my tonsils. And I made a video before this, but I'm not going to post it because it's just too personal and I don't want to go there. With all the things that I experienced with this woman that was literally put in my life to destroy me. And she hasn't yet. But I have all, the Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Maybe I signed up for it. I don't know. I'll find out later. I'll never, ever cave for these freaks, right? So when you start understanding you've got someone that was planted in your life to get your tonsils removed, to get you destroyed. You're the Cinderella. She's the wicked stepmother, literally. And they're there to destroy you. It's really amazing. It's really amazing when you start understanding what's really going on here. You got to understand things like Lilith and Inky, and it goes beyond a book. Again, see, like I knew this book, the Bible the Babel was created to control these things of the five senses. But I subsequently read all the documentation that supports it. I don't know how to explain that. You know what I mean? That's a higher power. That's the Spirit of God. That's something that is not me. And then it's just interesting, and I'm sure this has happened to you. You know something, and then you subsequently read something, and it confirms it. But anyway, I'm glad that these people are calling out these cult leaders, because they literally are. This is what these false prophets do. They all, they're hirelings. They all work and they do nothing. And my personal experience with these psychopaths was awful. Because until you understand there's another type of person here, you won't get it. They don't have empathy. They don't have compassion. They have no etheric connection to God. They do not have intuition. They do not have clairvoyance. They have none of that. But these are your strengths. But see, your problem is that you believe the media. You believe the television. You believe you're supposed to have this picture-perfect life and all these things and the materialism and all the shit that goes with it. And you'll waste your entire life pursuing this idea that they've manifested on a black mirror that doesn't exist. Because these things can't have that kind of life anyway. That's why they have cartoons like The Simpsons that actually portray what they've created. Like Simpson is an actual depiction of what they've created here. And that's what you're surrounded by. That's 8 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Simple Simons. All day long. Go to football games. Go to work. Pay their taxes. And then you have all these shills that are in there to try to explain to you why it's good to pay taxes, right? See, we're not here. See, I even realize that now. There's no changing them. They don't even have the faculty of understanding. These guys, these cult leaders, are way smarter than me. These politicians are way smarter than me. They knew this, millennia ago. You have to study to show yourself approved. You have to. And then you can start connecting all the dots. Okay? So I'll leave some links below. I hope you enjoy them. And that's all for now. Have a good night.